All right, well, in case you didn't notice, it snowed this week, which has...
I didn't notice.
Oh, it's true. It did.
And it's like minus 18.
Yes, and that's caused some extra worries on the car rides to work or to school or to wherever you're going. So the question is this: do you think of your car as a protective entity that allows you to say things and do things to other people that you would not otherwise say in the flesh?
Like a mobile cone of silence, maybe?
Perhaps a bulletproof.
Yeah, an armored truck. Some people believe their cars are armored
Seriously,
trucks,
though,
I think. Yeah.
People are really mean sometimes in their car, and I don't know that they would be that way if they had to say it to my face.
They're not.
Yeah.
They're not. They will absolutely say things and do things and flip hand signals at you that they'll never do in a shopping mall or in a corner store or anything if they ever ran into you on some like sort of aggressive sort of level. I'll say this: I think there's a syndrome. I think that there's a thing that when people get into a car, it's similar to when they're like behind a computer screen and they feel like they can say anything they want to until you meet them in person and you call them out on whatever they did and they don't have anything to say. And I think that's just a thing. It's a comfort thing. I think people have become sort of resigned to the fact that I'm never going to have to face the music. I'm going to drive away from the opposite direction, but they forget that other cars can drive in that direction as well, too. And there are stoplights and stop signs when you do have to face the music eventually. And so for that reason, I don't perceive my car as a bulletproof vehicle. I certainly have read enough news reports in the States and people proving that theory wrong, that they're not bulletproof. But I know that there are people that do, for sure.
I'm not one to flip someone off or to make a rude gesture, but I will say that when I am in my car, just muttering under my breath, or they could probably read my lips, my brain goes to a different place. It's as if I can just like throw out expletives and rhymes and everything else that randomly I rap at them, but it's like my brain it's like my brain fires in like different synapses, just like boom boom boom, bleep 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 and bleep 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 bleep. I remember driving with Laura.
He has that syndrome then.
Yeah.
That's not rap.
Sorry. Well, maybe we'll take out the bleep sometime, and I'll let you know. I was driving with Laura Mukon one time, and it just happens that you when you get into a pattern of like swearing at a certain time, like someone cut me off, and then so I looked back and I was like, oh, and I said something, and she turned to me and said, do you really think that person should blank 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 blank? And I stopped and I was like, did I say that? Oh my, I said that. And
It's so Laura to call you out on that.
Yeah. Yes. The answer was yes. I did think that they should.
Yeah.
Do that, yeah.
Do you use your horn?
No. I don't use my horn. I don't flip people off. It's all like, this makes me feel better. You know.
But Jess, you were mentioning that you've got an issue with the horn thing.
I don't think that horn should be used out of anger at all, ever. Period. I think like, okay.
Just a quick little.
Like they're there to like warn people. Like, yeah, but like the other day I was driving and a guy was behind me and I don't know what happened, it's all a blur, but he like just like laid on his horn and I put my car in park and I turned around and I was like, what? And he was just like motioning and yelling at me, and then I don't get angry, I get upset, I cry. I cry. I was just like, the rest of my drive I was so flustered and like, yeah, I feel bad for me. And I just, yeah, like I just don't, it's rude. I feel like it's really rude.
I would never do that
But
to
people
you.
just like, I don't know, there's something like, horns aren't used, I feel, for their
Was he leaning on
purpose.
the horn because the light was green?
Or because you put your car in park.
And you put your car in
You're
park?
driving down the highway and then you put your car in park.
We were in a parking lot, so I don't know. I just feel like their horns aren't used for what, like.
I agree. When I hear a horn, I'm always like, oh, what happened?
Yeah.
Who needs help, right?
Yeah.
And then when I find, well, really, because sometimes.
Call the 911.
But it might be. Like if somebody passed out on their horn.
No, no.
Yeah.
Who needs CPR?
Okay,
yeah.
Or like, I'm just
I don't
saying
even know
Yeah.
what a horn is.
Yeah.
I just like went up 5
I know.
and I'm like banging, and I yell. It's too late. Then it's done.
I actually honk if I'm not even the one involved in the thing.
Yeah, you do.
Like
Yeah.
if some guy's doing a real stupid thing to somebody else on the road, I'm like, because I'm like, if you're not gonna honk, I'm gonna honk for you to let that guy know that he's a d-bag.
It's just confusion.
Yeah.
Because why are you
That is
honking?
just noise.
Is it me?
Then-
Am I the problem?
See, then the
Is it you?
question I
don't know
pose
what's
is,
going on.
why do we have horns if we're not going to use them then? That's what they're
when
there
someone's
for.
about to hit you and
Yeah,
you have to alert them.
it's a warning.
Don't hit me.
Or it's don't hit me, or net, you can go in ahead of me.
Yes.
You know?
Yeah.
Like the
I
short,
feel like
the
it's
short
supposed to be
horn.
negative.
Total mutiny here, by the way.
But like, okay,
Don't, you'll
it
make
goes-
Jess cry. Don't do it.
But like, it goes back to that whole like, you feel invincible in your car. Would you yell at someone walking down this? Like, that's essentially what a horn
a
is
yell. I
doing.
would,
If you're
but-
something
I've
like
sometimes
that.
yelled at someone, but they were on a scooter driving down the sidewalk, and I kind of had a Hulk moment. But that's totally, you know.
It's just fun to yell at people on
Yeah.
scooters.
Yeah.
And last year, Rudy and I did a story with Art City. They got their new van done, and they brought over an artist who works exclusively with cars and like makes art out of old vehicles because he really believes that every vehicle has a personality and people name their cars, and so he has this idea. But another part of his art is that he says that cars do give you this sense of safety that doesn't really exist, and that you will act in a certain way that you wouldn't act if it weren't around you.
Absolutely.
And the moment that you step out of that car, though, everything changes. And we don't make that connection. We just don't do it. And in Winnipeg, it's particularly difficult because in the wintertime, everything changes over, and we all have to learn how to drive again, apparently. And everyone says that every year, but it's true.
Yeah, it is.
And even I'm guilty of it. This morning I was driving and I was trying to make this turn that I make every day, going like 15 or 20, but apparently I can only go 5 kilometers an hour now when I do this turn. And I put on the brakes and I was just like, ah, you know, that slow motion. And the woman who I'm about to hit is just looking at me like, and I'm like,
Does she honk?
no, she didn't. But I was actually I was kind of impressed because we got away, and you could tell she was like, I'm not that impressed that you didn't hit me, so okay. I'm like, ha ha ha. And then I was on my way, and I thought, she could have yelled at me. It wasn't really my fault, but you know,
No harm,
I
no
felt, yeah.
I always think
More
like,
people
what
need
if
to be that way.
what if you know that person? Like when I turned around and that gentleman had rudely honked at me, I turned around and I was looking at him and I was like, what if I knew you? Like, what if that was like you were like freaking out and you like had honked and then you drove by them and it was your boss or something, you know? Like, what that could happen, right?
Hug it out at that point. You just hug it out.
And you're
Hug
like
it out.
honking and yelling and you're like, oh, like,
I'm sorry I honked at you.
I know you.
I like using my horn. Clearly you don't because you're crying. Now we shall hug and make this okay again.
Should have pretended. Oh my God, it's you. Don't you remember me? And that would have
That's why I
super
was
be
yelling at you.
embarrassing.
Hey, over here! That hand gesture means number one. You know?
And don't forget, everybody. Don't forget that the thing that people hate the most is when you're nice to them when they're mad.
kill them with
It is
niceness.
really the best thing that you could possibly do.
I wish my brain would go there though.
I know, I don't either, but that
have
is
that
the best
mechanism.
thing to do.
Yeah.
How's it going?
I do the thumbs up a lot. I
Yeah.
do the sarcastic thumbs
Yeah.
up.
I hate you.
Yeah, good job. You know?
Did the woman do that this morning?
No, it was like, I
Let's
hope
not
you
talk about
know,
that. It was
I
cordial.
hope you know that you almost hit me. Not being
was
mean,
empowering
but
and
you
was
know
like-
what you did.
It was like when your parents discipline you when you're
That's
young.
right.
By
I'm
doing it-
disappointed.
disappointed look.
They did that. Oh, that's the worst. That is the worst. The silent treatment and the disappointment is the worst parent thing you can do.
Yeah.
So we'll get out there, guys. Try not to give anybody the finger and kill people
And
with
honk your
kindness.
horns, it's the weekend! Boo, boo.